Wife betrayed me when I was planning a surprise for her. Cheating story, sad audio story. What was so important about May 17th? Nothing really. It wasn't my wife's birthday, our anniversary, or even the day we first met. It was just a regular day, a normal Tuesday. And that's why I picked it. My name is Keith, and after being married to Lisa for 12 years, things were starting to feel a bit dull, or to put it better, predictable. It's not that I didn't love her. She and the kids were the most important things in my life. But lately, that spark in her eyes when I mentioned being intimate seemed to have faded. So, as a big romantic, I wanted to give her a night she'd always remember. At work on Monday, I asked Katie, Cheryl, and Karen, 3 of the hottest single women in the office, for ideas. All right, ladies, if you could plan the most romantic night ever, what would it be? I asked them. Around midnight, they started dreaming about Paris, Venice, and the Swiss Alps. Take it easy, girls, I said. I'm thinking something more affordable, like a romantic night at home or in a city hotel. By noon, they gave me ideas that fit my budget. I thanked them, took them to lunch, and started planning. They were excited, jumping up and down, telling me not to mess it up because now they were involved in my evening. On Wednesday afternoon, I took time off work to get everything ready before Lisa came home. Normally, I'd be home by 6 o'clock, but Lisa was always back by 3:30 to greet the kids. That Tuesday evening, I told Lisa that my parents wanted to take the kids out for dinner and a show on Wednesday, so they wouldn't be back until 8. The kids were excited to spend the night with Grandma and Grandpa. I left work on Wednesday around 11:30 with my list. Kids with Mom, free time, I thought as I headed to the store. Let's see, I need a sweet card, lots of good chocolate, and her favorite wine. The girls gave me a long list of things to do, even down to the lighting and music. The florist looked at me strangely when I asked for 2 pounds of pink rose petals until I told her my plan. You must really love your wife to do all this, she said as I left with a handful of red rose petals. Finally, I booked a table for 8 at Lisa's favorite steakhouse, just in case. I figured we might need food by 8, and if we didn't go out, I could grill steaks in the backyard. Everything was coming together. When I got home, I parked the car and brought everything inside. It was 2:30, so I had an hour to get ready. I froze the wine, made a big heart on the bed with rose petals, and wrote, I love you, with chocolate pieces in the center. I filled the tub with water and sprinkled more rose petals on top. I put the wine on my side of the bed and a card on her nightstand. I dimmed the lights, opened the wine, and set up the CD player. Then I took a shower, shaved, and got undressed. At exactly 3:25, I heard her car pull up. I closed the bedroom door, stood at the edge of the bed and at Ked, holding 2 glasses of wine, and waited for her to come upstairs. I heard muted laughter and something akin to a herd of horses ascending the stairs. When they burst into the bedroom, yes, I said they, Lisa and her boss, Rick. Do you know how long 475 seconds can feel like? It's like one huge gasp when your eyes meet hers, or 3 beats of a shattered heart. But enough time to KLL the romantic mood and shatter a marriage. It took Lisa's brain 15 seconds to register that something had changed as she stormed into our bedroom. Her shirt was unbuttoned, and her was already off. Then her brain sent a signal to her vocal cords, which took about 2 seconds for her to say, oh my god. And finally, 125 seconds to realize she had been caught, so to speak. If it wasn't a world record for marriage destruction, it should have been at least 2nd place. Rick, seeing what was happening, turned around and ran to the front door. He disappeared in less than 45 seconds. Meanwhile, I watched as Lisa started crying and fell to her knees. I emptied the contents of both glasses onto the bed, went to the closet, and began to get dressed, all the while listening to Lisa tell me how sorry she was and how much she loved me. It took me about 5 minutes to get dressed and tell her that it was in her best interest to leave before I returned. I went downstairs, got into my car, and drove to the nearest place where I could have a drink. Now I'm sitting at Tony's, finishing my 4th pint of BR, wondering what to do next. At 6:30, I went back to my now quiet and empty home. The front door was unlocked, and Lisa's car wasn't there. After a quick look downstairs, I went to our bedroom. Everything was almost the same as when I left. The tub was running, the wine, card, and chocolate were untouched. Lisa's closet and some drawers were open. I sat on the bed, trying to gather my thoughts, when my phone rang. I turned it off without answering because I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I know I need to replace the mattress in the guest room, I told myself, waking up the next morning. I showered, shaved, and headed to work. But on my way to my office, I felt more like a zombie. Well, how did everything go? All 3 girls shouted, bursting into my office. Judging by the way you look, it must have been LL-ish night, Karen giggled, nudging the elbows of the other 2. It was, I replied, giving them a brief version of last night's events. DMN, Katie said too loudly. What are you going to do? Cheryl asked. Survive and take care of my kids, I muttered. So if you don't mind, please keep quiet about it. I don't want to be the office joke, I told them. They left, telling me how sorry they were and that if I needed to talk to someone, they were always there. I thanked them and closed the office door. Bank accounts, credit cards, life insurance policies, 401k. All of them were closed or changed by 9:30 in the morning. Then I called my parents and told them that Lisa and I were having some problems and asked if they could keep the kids until the weekend. They were upset to hear about it but were more than happy to watch the kids. Checking my cell phone, I found 20 messages from Lisa. I deleted them all. The lawyer gave me the name of a good attorney at a reasonable price, if possible, and I scheduled a meeting for Friday morning. You never truly know how badly you've messed up until you spend 2 hours with a divorce lawyer, until he lays out your options or lack thereof. It was your word against hers. Lisa and Rick hadn't done anything yet when you caught them. And you can't kick her out of the house because it was her home too. You know what really ed me off? The fact that she'll probably get custody of the kids, the house, and at least 40% of what I earned after taxes. I got wed over without even a kiss goodbye, he suggested. Marriage counseling or at least a 90-day cooling-off period before I do anything. Listen, Keith, no matter what you do, you'll be paying child support for the next 8 years at least, plus payments for the house. The only thing you can do is wait and try to lose as little as possible. Look, if I were you, I'd move into the spare bedroom and make things easy for your kids, he said. I left early and moved all my stuff to the spare bedroom. I got a new mattress and threw out the old one. I didn't answer Lisa's calls, but I knew she might come to the house, so I made sure to be ready for that. On Friday, I picked up the kids on my way home from work and took them to a pizza place. They had a great time but were happy to be back home. Lisa finally showed up around 8:30 that evening. The kids ran to her, but she kept looking at me. By 10 o'clock, they had all gone to their rooms, and I headed to the guest room. Lisa asked if we could talk later, but I told her I wasn't in the mood. Maybe tomorrow, I said, closing and locking the door. I heard a muffled cry as she surveyed what used to be our bedroom. I heard sounds of sheets being pulled from the bed and other noises, as I imagined her trying to tidy up the room. On Saturday morning, I noticed a card, rose petals, and chocolate in the trash, along with an empty wine bottle. The kids had breakfast and went about their usual Saturday activities, friends and football. I wasn't really hungry, so I just brewed some coffee. Lisa came downstairs just as I finished my first cup. I poured myself another, grabbed the newspaper, and went out onto the deck. You know you're going to have to talk to me sooner or later, she said, looking at me with red eyes. But why, Lisa? What can you say to explain what I saw on Wednesday? How long have you been cheating on me with Rick? It was only the second time, believe me, dear, Lisa sobbed. Why is it so hard for me to believe you? And by the way, you've lost the privilege of calling me sweet or anything else that sounds affectionate, I spat out. We coexist for the sake of the children until I figure out what's best for me and for them. It seems like you've already made your choice. At that, Lisa stormed back into the house, and I finished my coffee in anger, tearing the newspaper. The next 2 weeks at work were miserable, but at least it wasn't as bad as my home life. Someone blabbed at work, and now all I got were those pitying looks from all the women in my office every time I walked by them. My boss wanted to know if I needed personal time off, but I told him I could handle it and that I needed work to stay sane. The kids understood from the first day that something had happened and asked if they had done something wrong. Kids, your mom and I are going through a tough time, but everything is okay, trust me, I told them, but it wasn't true. Lisa tried to talk to me and even once tried to duce me, but I no longer felt anything for her. I felt awful when Cheryl came into my office on Thursday just before 5 o'clock. Get your coat, we're leaving, she said. I tried to say something, but she stopped me. Maybe you don't get it, this isn't a request. Grab your coat, we're leaving, she insisted. When Cheryl and I got there, 2 more from our group were already sitting at a table in the corner. Anana, Katie, and Karen. After ordering drinks, Cheryl started talking to me. You need to snap out of it, Keith, she said. For the past 2 weeks, you've been like a zombie, and even though everyone's covering for you, you're in big trouble if you don't get it together. I have my reasons, so why don't you just tt out? I almost shouted back at her. Back off, you idiot. You're not talking to Lisa, Karen replied. What the hell do you want, Keith, or are you planning on wallowing in self-pity for the rest of your life? I want everything to be like it was before this happened, I said, staring at my glass. Didn't you say your marriage was getting stale and you wanted to spice it up? Katie asked. Do you really want to go back to your boring life? Do you love her? I love and hate her at the same time. I want to strangle her and Rick for what they've done to me, I yelled. I just don't know what the hell to do or where to start. Let's eat first, and then we'll figure it out, Cheryl said, waving for the waiter. The first thing we need to do is level the playing field. Lisa is still in your house and comes back to work every day. Rick, on the other hand, goes home to his loving wife and kids. Even though he messed up your marriage, Cheryl spat. It's time for you to reclaim your life. By the end of the evening, I felt better, and they were right. I had to do something. I couldn't let this continue, it was tearing me apart. Lisa wanted to know where I had been when I returned home. Why do you care? I shouted as she tearfully walked into her bedroom. The next day, I met with my lawyer, Randy. I thought you were going to wait for the divorce, he asked. Yes, I want to sue the company where Rick and Lisa work and then hit Rick with a lawsuit for alienation of affection, I told him. Listen, Keith, you don't have solid evidence, as I've told you, he replied. I know, but they work for a public company, and with all the CRP in the news lately about corporate mismanagement, I don't think they'll want bad press. Besides, even though Lisa wasn't at work, don't most managers work until 5, and don't most corporate bylaws have a clause about morals when a married boss sleeps with a married subordinate he controls, especially during work hours? Randy said. It would take a couple of days to get everything sorted out and the paperwork filed, but he'd let me know when things were happening. For the next 3 days, I was my usual self. I joked around at work, had fun with the kids, and even started talking to Lisa again, which made things easier for her. On Thursday, Randy called and said their company had been served, but I asked him to wait on Rick's paperwork until we reached an agreement with their company. By the next Tuesday, Randy and I were sitting in the conference room with the CEO and his manager. We've looked over the documents, and it seems you forgot to include any documents about the incident, the manager said. Then he talked about legal proceedings and was surprised when I got up and walked to the door. We'll be taking statements from all the office staff, I said calmly. How many of them do you think knew what was happening? All I need to do is find 1 or 2, I told them. And how many managers do you think will defend Rick when their own backsides are on the line? Good luck, gentlemen, I said, walking out with Randy. On Wednesday, I was at my desk when Randy called. They want to settle, or as they put it, make this mess disappear, he told me. Well, I requested $250,000, attorney fees, and for both of them to be transferred to other departments in the state. That should cover everything, I told him. Tell them the offer stands until noon on Thursday, and then we'll move forward, I said. During the day, Randy called me again. They agreed to the fees and transfers but are offering $150,000, he told me. Randy, stop negotiating. Tell them the price is now $300,000. If they try to negotiate again, the price will go up to $400,000. Maybe that will end it all, I said. On Thursday at 3:30, Randy called and said my offer was accepted. He'd bring the documents for me to sign by 5 o'clock. True to his word, at 4:30, a package was delivered to my office. This is expected, my secretary told me. I reviewed the papers and the check attached to them, then signed the documents and handed them over. If anyone needs me, I'll be gone for the whole day, I told her as I left the office. In the car on the way home, I quickly called Randy. Handle Rick tonight, and do it at his place, I said. I was on cloud 9 with happiness. By tomorrow, I would have a weight off my shoulders and I could continue living. Alright, that's it. Grab your coat because we're going out for dinner tonight, I said as I walked in the door. Lisa looked at me and didn't move, so I continued. Come on, Lisa, you too. A broad smile appeared on her face as she hurried to get her coat. During dinner, we talked and laughed like we had for the past 12 years. Life was good again, almost good. When we returned home, everyone thanked me for a great evening and went to their rooms. Lisa approached, kissed me on the cheek, and thanked me for the evening. It meant a lot to me tonight, she said. I told her that we would have a nice long talk tomorrow evening, so she needed some rest, I said. You idiot, Lisa shouted as she entered the door. You knew last night what would happen today, didn't you? Not entirely, Lisa, but pretty close, I replied. Where's that job offer you were talking about? I asked. Trenton, New Jersey, wherever the HLL that is. It seems like my services are no longer needed here, and it was either New Jersey or no job at all, she explained. I told them there was no way I'd go there, and then they handed me my severance and gave me 20 minutes to clear my desk, she sobbed. I gave them 8 years, and in 20 minutes, I was out the door, she said, sitting on a kitchen chair and sobbing. Where are they transferring your friend Rick to? I asked. Flint, Michigan, she said, staring at the floor. Underarm of the Northeast. This wouldn't have happened to a nicer guy, I said, smiling from ear to ear. Well, Lisa, here's how the next phase will go, I said, pulling my chair closer. If you want to be part of this family, here are the conditions. First, you need to get checked for any diseases and bring me a health certificate, I said, sliding a paper across the table. Then you'll take a lie detector test. I'll even give you the questions beforehand. To help you, I added the questions. Start off easy, but they get harder as you go down the list, I explained. When she reached the last group, she started crying. Am I the real father of our kids? Why did you cheat when we were intimate recently? Were you thinking of Rick or me? How many times have you lied to me lately? How many affairs have you had? Do you still love me? I said, you have a meeting tomorrow at 9, I said, and if you get through that without any surprises, we have an appointment with a marriage counselor on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Lisa just sat there crying, going through the questions. I can answer them now if you want, she said. I think I'll wait until tomorrow, I told her. I just don't trust you anymore, and I want to start over without any lies, if you don't mind. I didn't like all her answers, but she passed in my mind. Do I trust her? No. Am I planning to stay with her? Well, we're still figuring things out, I said. The hardest part is that we haven't been intimate in the last 5 months, and that's what I really miss. We have making love once or twice a week just to ease tension, but it's not the same, I added. Rick got moved to Flint, Michigan, last year. I sent him a Christmas card from Florida with a message, glad you're not here. Yeah, by the way, my wife and kids are here. I guess the sunny South beats the cheating husband. Go figure. Second story. Is flirting online considered cheating? Hi, everyone. I've been dating my girlfriend for almost a year now, but about 6 months ago, we broke up because she was getting hit on and flirting back with another guy on Facebook. We split up when I found out he had plans to be with her, and she was flirting back. We spent 2 weeks apart, and then got back together. I forgave her because it was just online messages and nothing physical happened. Recently, I found out she planned to run away with him and meet his family about 6 weeks ago. I'm going crazy thinking maybe more happened than just online flirting, because why would someone want to start a relationship and meet their family after just weeks of talking? She promised it was only flirting online and only did it because I left her during that period. I hope I can get some advice because this is my first serious relationship, and I don't want to stay if I'm just ignoring warning signs because I'm in love. Thanks for listening till the end. Don't forget to like this video.